Listening 1. Changing Expectations. Listen for main ideas. Page 68.
Hello, everyone. My name's Gary McBride, and I'm here to talk to you today about the benefits of downshifting. By downshifting, I mean getting out of the rat race and living a simpler life, one with less power and responsibility, and of course less money, but with more free time and opportunity to enjoy life. It's something we probably all think about from time to time, but I've actually done it. So, thank you for giving me this opportunity to tell you about my experience. A few years ago, I worked on Wall Street for a big bank. I was a typical city trader, buying and selling stocks day after day. And it was very well paid. I mean, I earned hundreds of thousands of dollars. I wore designer clothes, drove a luxury sports car, lived in a huge apartment downtown. I felt like I was king of the world. But there was a price to pay. I couldn't really handle all the stress. I had headaches and stomach problems the whole time. My personal life also suffered, as I was never home to build a steady relationship. And then the financial crisis came along. You remember that, right? Like many others, I lost my job. But instead of looking for work in other companies, retraining, or starting my own business, I felt I needed to do something different. I was curious about the world out there, and I needed to justify my place in it. I needed a change. So, for 6 months, I traveled around Mexico, then South America, and over to Europe. It gave me the time and space I needed to think about what I wanted to do. And when I got back, I decided to leave Wall Street. I sold my car and my apartment and went to live in a small town in Iowa to be near my parents. After a couple of months, I started looking for work. I earned a lot as a city trader, but I also spent a lot, so I didn't have any savings. I wanted to try something new, something different. The first position I was offered was a home care assistant in the local hospital. It seemed a friendly place, so I took it. These days, I'm still a home care assistant. I go to the homes of sick or elderly people who need help, and I help them wash. I do their housekeeping, prepare their meals. I talk to them. Being a home care assistant is a very different job from what I was doing before. Of course, the salary is considerably lower, so I don't eat out often. I can't buy a new car, and I certainly can't afford an overseas vacation anymore. But you know what? I've adapted, and now I'm very fulfilled. Living life at a slower speed means I have time to make friends. Real friends. I have a better relationship with my family, and I feel healthier too. As a city trader, I was always busy. I only thought about myself. But now, my job is to care for other people, and helping other people has helped me to be a better person. I've achieved the goal I set for myself when I came back from traveling. I finally know what it is to be happy. Now, are there any questions?
Listening 2. An interview with Barbara Ehrenreich. Listen for main ideas. Page 72.
So, Barbara, welcome to Life and Times. It's great to have you here.
Great to be here, Jack. Thanks for inviting me.
Now, you're famous as a journalist, and of course, you've written several books based on your research. We'll get to those in a minute, but could you start by telling our listeners some of the reasons why you go undercover for your research?
Sure. Well, interviews are fine, but sometimes you need to experience something firsthand to understand it. So I guess what I'm saying is that being an undercover reporter is a good way to find out what's really going on. By putting yourself in the situation you're investigating, you can then write about your experience from a more informed point of view.
I see. So, for Nickel and Dimed, where did you go undercover?
Well, the aim was to see if I could support myself in low-paid jobs. So I worked as a waitress, a hotel housekeeper, a maid, a nursing home assistant, and a supermarket clerk. I spent a month in each job, working in Florida, Maine, and Minnesota.
Wow, that's a lot of different jobs and places. I guess your life changed completely during that period, right?
It sure did. And boy, I learned a lot. It was amazing.
Really? What exactly did you find out?
Well, first, that it was very difficult indeed to cope, financially, on such low wages. The rents were very high and the wages were so low. These people really struggle. Also, you have to be a hard worker. I mean, some of the jobs I was doing left me feeling physically exhausted, especially when I had to work 2 jobs in a day. Interviewing people is one thing, but actually doing the job day to day shows you exactly how hard these people's lives are.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Nickel and Dimed went on to be a very popular book. It was a New York Times bestseller.
Yes, I was really surprised at all the interest. I think it really opened people's eyes, a first-hand account like that. People in low-paid jobs like those aren't lazy. They work long, hard hours just to survive.
Did you change your name when you went undercover?
For Nickel and Dimed, I didn't change my name, but I did for my next project, Bait and Switch. I wanted to see how easy it was for people with pretty good jobs who became unemployed to find another job at the same level. So I went undercover as a white-collar public relations executive looking for work. I tried really hard with a great resume that told everyone that I had lots of experience and all that, but I couldn't find any work. It really highlighted to me how hard life can be for people at all levels, from unskilled manual workers to white-collar management.
Mm-hmm. So I guess in both cases, for Nickel and Dimed and Bait and Switch, you were pleased that the changes you made weren't permanent? I mean, you didn't ever want to carry on in one of those jobs.
No way. I just got a brief look at people's lives there, and by the time I finished, I realized how lucky I was. I was so relieved not to be in that kind of situation long term.
Mm-hmm. Well, listeners, we're going to take a short break, but if you have a question for Barbara, now's the time. So get on the phone and call. We've got